Here's a deck that gets a deal approved. 5 slides, not 40, not the deck your champion loves. 5 slides, and I'm about to give you the exact structure in order so you can build yours in the next 15 minutes. I promised this video in the previous one, where I used the learnings that I had from CFOs and how they're looking at the seller when they walk into the room. Now I'm turning that into the document itself, the one you will hand the CFO and walk out with a yes. By the end of this video, you'll have the skeleton of your own CFO business case, slide by slide, with what goes on each one, what order they go in, and why that order is the part almost everyone gets wrong. Stick around because there's a free copy of the exact template in the description. You can literally fill in it while you watch. So let me put some context if you haven't seen the video. I captured feedback from CFOs and to understand what actually happens in their head before they approve a deal. And a number of things come out of that. The priorities, the numbers, the total cost, the accountability, reversibility, peer proof, and vendor longevity. This video takes those 7 things and compresses them into 5 slides. Not because 5 is a magic number, it's 3, but because that's how many a CFO will actually read before they decide. So, quick gut check. What is slide 1 in your current deck? If the answer is an about us, our office location, or a product overview, that's a mistake. The champion deck starts with you. The CFO deck starts with their problem, in their language, before you're even mentioned. Every slide in this structure exists to answer one question in the CFO's head. Get the order wrong and you're relitigating a question they already moved past. So let's build it. Slide 1 is not your solution, it's the cost of doing nothing. CFOs don't fund initiatives, they fund the closing of a gap. So before you introduce yourself, name the gap in dollars tied to something they already track. And not manual reconciliation is slow. Instead, manual reconciliation costs 340 hours a quarter across the finance team, roughly $60,000 in fully loaded time, before you count the close delays it causes. One CFO put it this way: if you show me the bill I'm already paying, then tell me a name. And that's the entire job of slide 1. It always does something else. It silently answers checkpoint 1 from the last video. Is this tied to something I already care about? If your cost of inaction lines up with a line item on their P&L, you've already passed the first filter. Slide 2 is where a lot of sellers lose credibility in the first 10 seconds, because they lead with one number, a single confident ROI figure with no visible math behind it. CFOs don't trust a number, they trust a model they can poke at. So slide 2 shows 3 columns, not one: conservative, base, and upside. Same inputs, adoption rate, time save, cost per hour, just different assumptions, labeled as assumptions. And you said a sentence that changes the entire dynamic of the meeting. This is built on your numbers, not mine. If an input's wrong, we change it together. Just watch what that does. The CFO stops auditing your model and starts owning it. It's no longer your business case defending itself. It's their business case and you're just holding the pen. So a quick pause. If you're planning to actually build one of these instead of just watching, now's the moment to grab the template linked below. It has these 5 slides pre-labeled with the exact prompts I'm walking you through, so you're not starting from a blank page. Drop it into your next CFO meeting prep and move on to slide 3 with me. So slide 3 is the one sellers skip and is the one that costs them the most trust. The CFO is not calculating your license fee. They're calculating a license plus implementation plus internal headcount plus change management plus the risk buffer they add automatically because you didn't mention any of it. So put the full number on the slide yourself. License, implementation, internal time, ongoing management, all of it in one place before they ask for it. This does 2 things. It closes the gap their imagination would otherwise fill with a bigger number, and it signals something CFOs specifically look for. You're not selling them a price, you're showing them a cost structure. And that's the difference between a vendor and a partner in their eyes. Slide 4 is where you answer the question no one asks out loud, but every CFO is thinking. What happens if this goes wrong? This slide does 3 jobs in one. First, accountability. You name the executive sponsor, you show governance cadence, who reviews progress, how often, against what metric. Second, reversibility. Address your contract terms directly instead of hoping they don't come up. They always come up. If your terms are flexible, lead with that. If it's a standard multi-year commitment, say what the customer gets for it. And third, prove it's worked elsewhere. Not a logo wall. 1 or 2 reference customers with a comparable risk profile and a note that says, happy to set up a reference call. One line under this slide does more work than any paragraph. And here's who's accountable, here's how we track it, and here's who will vouch for us. And that sentence is built entirely out of the last 3 checkpoints from the previous video: accountability, reversibility, and peer proof. Folded all of them into one slide instead of 3 separate ones. And slide 5 is the one almost every seller gets wrong, because they don't actually put a decision on it. Most decks end with next steps or thank you, a vague list of follow-up calls and pilot discussion, but that's not a decision, that's a delay with better formatting. Slide 5 is a specific ask, and it has exactly 3 parts: an amount, a date, and the problem it solves. We are asking for approval of $180,000 by the 15th to close the reconciliation gap we opened on slide 1. That's it, not hedging, no whatever works for you, so that the CFO can say yes to a specific ask in the room. Because the CFO cannot say yes to let's keep talking. That just becomes next quarter's problem, which is another way of saying no. So here's the pattern interrupt worth remembering. The content of these 5 slides can be perfect, and the deck still fails if you present it in the wrong order. Sellers who are proud of their product lead with slides 2 or 3. They open with the ROI model or the feature set, because that's the part they're most excited about. But the CFO hasn't agreed that the problem is worth solving yet. You're answering a question that they haven't asked. Cost of inaction first, always first. Everything after that is either proof that it's worth fixing or a mechanism for fixing it safely. In that order, every slide reinforces the one before it. Out of order, you're just disconnecting arguments. So, 5 slides: cost of inaction, financial case built on their numbers, total investment stated upfront, risk and governance in one place, and a decision, which is an amount, a date, and a problem solved. That's a document that gets read in the room, instead of skimmed after it. If you haven't watched a video where I break down what's behind those 5 slides, go watch that next. It's linked right there, and it will show you why this structure works. So grab the template in the description, build your version this week, and use it on the next deal that's stalled in finance. So subscribe to this channel if that's the kind of thing you want more of, and I'll see you in the next one.